Hello, everyone, in episode 446 of the No Sugarcoating Podcast. I'm your host, Amber Romaniuk. Welcome. How are you wherever you are in the world? I'm sending you all so much love. Today's going to be a very interactive episode. So make sure you have a piece of paper and a pen or a journal and a pen. And I'm like, as I'm going around, I'm like, where did I put my pen? It's around here somewhere. It's been a great day and I'm super excited. So grab your journal and your pen or a pen and a piece of paper. Because something I was thinking about today, and it's so interesting because I'm usually a very big like holiday spender. And this year I'm like, why am I spending so much money on stuff I don't need? Or like, why don't I save? Like we can put money toward buying a house or paying debt off or whatever. Like I've just had such a different shift in my mindset. I love Christmas. I'm a Christmas nut. But I want to talk about like mindless spending, fueling emotional eating, because when we're mindlessly spending, it can fuel self-sabotage of food because we're stressed about finances and feel guilty about money we're spending. And then that fuels emotional eating because we want to suppress the guilt. Can any of you relate? We're also going to talk about why not investing in yourself may actually cost you more financially, emotionally, physically than if you did actually invest in yourself and your healing journey. And I'm not just talking about like a massive investment, it could be something small to start with, but we'll get into that. And then we're going to talk about how we can start to shift the perception around just taking a step toward this, because I've been having some great conversations with people in the DMs and new clients and current clients. Gosh, I'm so grateful. I've got the best clients. I love you all. Shout out to all of you beautiful souls. Um, but this is just a really important conversation. So we're going to get into that right away. I want to go through the announcements. You do not want to miss the announcements this week because there's some really fun things happening in November and you're not going to want to miss them. So please don't skip the announcements today because otherwise you're going to miss out. So all the details from today's episode will be found at amberapproved.ca/podcast/446. If you're watching on YouTube, it's in the description below. So you can check it all out there. So the first thing is, of course, I've had a lot of clients who worked with me, and of course, through the holidays can be a very vulnerable time. I know that. And it has been for me as well. So I want to just, drop the friendly reminder that I know that the holidays can bring getting more sick, suppressing the immune system, mindlessly spending money because you're in a people pleasing mode and think you need to buy gifts for everyone and the neighbor and their dog. Otherwise, you're going to let them down and you need people to like you. And then maybe you look at your credit card statement and go, holy crap, I spent like thousands of dollars that I didn't need to spend. And I actually could have put that into investment on my journey to food to body freedom. And like now I can't do that either because I spent all that money that I didn't need to spend. Like, what if you actually didn't do that? What if you actually got support from now through the holidays into the new year to boost your immune system, to beat the bloating, to gain the support, coaching, and the tools to identify and overcome the emotional eating triggers so that when you're sitting at your family's house and your favorite shortbread cookies are on the table, you can actually enjoy them mindfully or have one or two and feel complete and not feel the need to eat half the plate and then feel guilty. Like, what would it feel like if you didn't gain weight through the holiday season this year? Right. So, if this is resonating for you and you're wanting to explore support, I wanted to drop the friendly reminder that we do have the coaching savings that will go through November on 4, 6, and 12-month coaching programs. It's a $500 to $2,000 savings. So amazing. And I just want you to feel how I feel going through the holidays. I do it so differently now, thanks to overcoming emotional eating, binge eating, food addiction, and have a newfound respect for food. And I want you to experience that too. And just the peace and the detachment and the ability to be present and enjoy food. So if you want to come and take advantage of the coaching savings and explore a one-to-one coaching program, you can go to amberapproved.ca, schedule a consultation to book a body freedom consultation, or you can email me info@amberapproved.ca with the subject line coaching savings and we can connect. Okay, a couple other reminders. Make sure you're subscribed to the Body Freedom newsletter. The link is in the show notes, or you can go to amberapproved.ca on the homepage because I'm going to have more updates on what the heck is going on with Canada and this government censorship that they're planning to do with podcasts. But make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter so you don't miss out on anything there. Also, stay tuned because next weekend, on Sunday, I'm going to be dropping a code for 40% off all masterclasses and self-study programs. 40% off for the week of November 15th to 22nd. So if you've been wanting to get something and you want to get it at like an epic price and gift yourself some early Christmas gifts, like these are the Christmas gifts I'm going to encourage you to get. Things are going to help you heal. You'll want to stay tuned for that because that will be dropping. And last but not least, I know I had to do everything in November because I just think it's a fun time. I really want to give back. And one of the other things that I'm offering, and you have until November 13th to sign up for this, is I'm offering you a free month trial in the Body Freedom membership. Okay, so you can click the link in the show notes. There will be a banner, it just says like sign up free for the membership. You'll leave your email and a password to make a login. And then November 14th, you'll get a notification that you now have access to the membership, and you have that until December 14th. So you're going to get access to 2 live sessions that you can join me for. We're going to dive deep into gut health, weight loss, emotional eating, hormones in one session. The other session, I'm going to teach you 5 to 10 minute mini self-care practices that can help you shift and take your power back so fast, help you feel more calm, peace, ease. So if you want to come and join us for those 2 live hour sessions, plus gain instant access on the 14th of November to dozens of replay sessions for self-care practices, meditations, journaling, visualizations, talking more about food and dopamine and your brain on sugar, inflammation, mood, the ego mindset, emotional eating triggers, weight loss blocks, being vulnerable, and so many more topics. Come and join us for the free trial. You have until November 13th to get on the list for that. And it's going to help bring you more peace, calm, and empowerment with your relationship with food and your body. So those are all my announcements today. We got the coaching sale, subscribe to the newsletter, come and join us for the free trial of the membership for 30 days, and stay tuned for that 40% off code coming next week. Okay, now let's dive into today. Okay. So I want to talk about how mindless spending can really fuel emotional eating. And I know everyone values things differently. Like I personally would never go to Starbucks and spend $100, $200, $300 a month on lattes that are full of aspartame and refined sugar and garbage ingredients. That's just a personal choice, but some people really value that. And I'm not going to poo-poo you if that's your vibe. But what I really want to like have us get honest and gain clarity with is, where are we mindlessly spending that then you look at your bank account, you look at your bank statement, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I way overdid it. And oh my gosh, now I'm stressed. And oh my gosh, now I just want to like numb all this discomfort and lack and fear and worry about finances with food. Or now, because we're getting so close to Christmas and the holidays, and I'm going to use a lot of my own personal examples from the past, because trust me, this was totally me. And if any of you can relate, you're not the only one. But I used to spend a lot of money on Christmas. And part of it was a people-pleasing thing. Part of it was like a proving thing. Part of it was trying to recreate childhood memories and images I had in my head. But then every year when I'd come into the new year and look at my my bank statement, my credit card statement from like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have saved that money. I could have paid debt off. I could have actually put it into something I really wanted, or right. And then I'd have to deal with the guilt and the frustration and the shame around like feeling like I was mindless with certain things. Right. So we're going to talk a bit about that. And we all have different things we value. You're going to spend your money on whatever you want. I'm not here to tell you what to spend or not spend on. However, I want to help open you up to help you see, to where if you're to the point where you're like, well, I really want to get support, but I can't afford it. Or you're prioritizing, buying a $5,000 purse over, your journey to food and body freedom. It's like, well, what is the priority, and how could healing your relationship with food and your body like really amplify your life more than a purse? Or maybe you get both. And fair enough if you're just going to go get the purse, but it's like to buy a purse and then go, well, I can't afford this because I did that, and now I'm still suffering and struggling. Like, let's shift and like make you the priority, right? I think that's really important. So let's talk about, some of these habits we can get into. I guess right before we do that, I want to talk a bit about the vicious cycle of this whole emotional roller coaster that fuels emotional eating. So you may be mindlessly spending a lot of money on emotionally eating. I can attest to that. I spent $50,000 in 5 years on binge foods, quick fixes, diets, personal trainers I couldn't afford. And I'm not kidding, because essentially what I would do is I would go to the organic store, right? I was justifying, well, if I go to the Planet Organic, it's more healthy because at least it's organic sugar. Safe to say it's not more healthy because it's organic sugar, because when you're binging and you're emotionally eating and you have food addiction, it doesn't matter because you're overeating. It's not any better, right? But that was like the story my ego wanted to try and justify as to why it wasn't as big of a deal when it really was. But I was going 5-6 nights a week and I was dropping 50, 75, 85, $95. You add that up over 52 weeks in a year, or 52 weeks in a year. And then over 5 years, like plus other quick fixes and, $5,000 I didn't have to spend on a personal trainer. And then I only showed up for 3 sessions and then quit because I was in a binge phase, gained a bunch of weight and felt so ashamed to go. Because the second session, he's like, have you gained weight? And I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't even try to explain to him what I'm really struggling with. So, there goes another $5,000 that could have been spent like healing all this stuff, but I didn't know what I didn't know at the time. And I was prioritizing, looking good or thinking that if I get a trainer, it'll motivate me to not want to binge. But I just didn't know like what was actually going to help me and motivate me and what was actually not going to work. So I've been there, I've totally done it. But what ends up happening is the emotional eating can add up. So, let's get our pen and paper out. And I want you to just put on your page, like, how do we word this? I feel like no matter what I say, it could upset somebody. So we're just going to put it like this. So let's just put like mindless spending. Okay. And then because it's the same, like when we spend with intention and it comes from a place of love and worthiness, and like this actually feels like something I need, something that's going to benefit me. There's value to this and there's intentionality and mindfulness. That's different. And mindless is like, I don't really need this. I'm getting this to try and look good or prove something or fit a certain image or fit in with the in crowd. It's like me when I'm 18, I'm going to the freaking like high-end Holt Renfrew, buying $700 pair of sunglasses with my student loan. Why? Because I was influenced by the show The Hills and Laguna Beach. And I wanted to be like those rich girls in the show because they had all the attention and success and fame. I'm like, if I go get the Chanel sunglasses, then maybe people will think that I'm rich and successful and all of that too. Like, because I didn't feel good enough and I didn't know how to claim my worth. Right. And so instead of saving that money and using it for the things I really needed it for, I'm going and blowing it because I'm getting conditioned that it's about looking good and fitting a certain image. Right. So I've totally been there with that too. And, definitely had some heated conversations with my dad who was, helping me out at the time when I was going to school. And I don't blame him for getting upset. Like I was being mindless. I just didn't really like know what was at the root of it. So mindless versus mindful spending. Right. So usually a need is a thing like, okay, well, groceries, that's important, but maybe you're buying groceries and then you're throwing a half of them or 3/4 of them out because you're not taking any time to prep. And produce only lasts for so long, right? Stuff. I always talk to people about spending money on, groceries, which is a mindful spend. And then like, how much do you think you spend? But then we can put on the mindless side, like throwing groceries out. And how much do you think you're spending on that a week? And by all means, like pause this, take your time, like really reflect, because I know this is a very interactive, like I really want you to take your time and break all this down. But wasting groceries, right? Maybe another mindless spend for you is like takeout and fast food because you're triggered to emotionally eat. And maybe for you, it's like you're the person, because a lot of my clients and I talk about this and they're like, I drive home from work and there's this fast food place on the way home. And every time I get close to it, I want it so bad. Why do I want it so bad? And then I stop and I pick it up. And then there's another wasted 20, 30, 40, however many dollars. And I sit in the parking lot and I binge on it. And then I drive home and I feel so much guilt and I feel gross and I feel like crap. So how much money are you spending on, like, whether it's emotional eating, food triggers in a day, a week, a month? I've talked to people and it's, $500, $700, $1,000 a month. It was definitely that and more for me as well. Right. So how much are you spending on emotional eating or binge food? Just think about like, okay, how many days did I do it this week? What did I buy roughly? What do I think it costs? And then times that by how often it's happening, weekly, monthly, yearly. Right. And then takeout and fast food. And I'm not saying this is all mindless. Like we get takeout once a week. However, we try to support local restaurants and we still make mindful food choices. Because I just don't like feeling like crapping really greasy food and seed oils and all the deep fried stuff. I don't like. I just don't eat that, but each to their own. Right. So maybe it's like one takeout a week is on the mindful side. But if it's like I'm getting takeout and fast food because I'm emotionally triggered to binge or emotionally eat, I'm not prioritizing food prep or making mindful food. I'm in a stressed, I don't care mentality. I'm trying to chase a dopamine high from food. I want my quick fix. I have these intensive cravings because they put a lot of addictive ingredients into a lot of these fast foods, MSG, aspartame, refined sugar, right? Like all these things, high amounts of processed salts. They literally give you a massive dopamine pleasure high to get you to keep coming back. And there's more I could share. I'll do another episode though, because I really want to stick to this. So how much are you spending there? Right? How much are you spending there? And then we start to already see, even from these things, like how much things can start to accumulate. How many groceries are you throwing out a week? Right? I think that's important to look at. So maybe for you, it's like a coffee habit. Maybe it's like a Starbucks habit or a Dunkin' Donuts coffee habit, or maybe it's a like whatever you have around you, but you're going every day and you're getting your drink, your warm drink, whatever that is from the store, right? So then like add that up. I'm just going to pull it up because I'm curious. I'm curious to see like what that would cost. So say you go and you get, I don't know, I don't even know. I like don't go to Starbucks or anything. But let's say that you go and you get a coffee, whatever I don't even know if the thing is on their website for what it costs. But what does an average Starbucks drink cost? Like $5, $6, $7, maybe more. Yeah, the prices aren't on the website. It's kind of funny. So let's just say you're doing a $7 drink a day, 5 days a week. It's $35, about $35. It's about $140 a month. So let's put your coffee habit. And again, I'm not saying this is bad, but I just want to open you up to say, if you're stressed about money, if you're stressed that or upset you can't invest in your health or your healing, like sometimes we have to make sacrifices. Sometimes there's things that we could actually shift and actually have a lot of money to invest on ourselves, or something that we really need that could be really beneficial. Maybe it's starting to go and get massages or acupuncture or save money for hormone testing or whatever it is. But say it's $140 a month. It could be more if you're doing 7 days a week, right? We'll say 7 times 7, or maybe you're going more than once a day, right? Oh my goodness, my keyboard isn't working. 7 times 7. Obviously it's 44. Anyways, 49, right? I need to get up on my addition skills. I used to do the mad minutes in junior high and I'd always win like 39 seconds. That was fun. Anyways, so say, yeah, like that you're doing that. That's $196 a month, right? So 196 times 12, like $2,300 a year, right? So you could be from 2,000 to 2,300 a year just on your coffee habit. And maybe you're also getting a loaf and a baked good because you got a sweet tooth and you can't walk by it. And did you know that like some of their drinks have like 50 to 80 grams of sugar, and the baked good, like a piece of loaf is like 30 grams, like insane amounts of sugar. No wonder people are addicted to sugar and all this stuff by design, of course. So what's your coffee habit like? Right, so we have a takeout fast food, we've got emotional eating binge food, we've got groceries you're throwing out, takeout fast food that's more from this like mindlessness, I don't have time to cook and all that kind of stuff. To me, a mindful spending would be like if you wanted to invest in a food prep delivery service, right? As long as you're eating the food, if you're throwing that out, then that's now a mindless spend. But maybe you don't have time to cook and you can afford to get a meal delivery service that you really like. I have some clients that do that. Do that if that feels good to me. That's a mindful spend, right? What other things? Your Netflix, like TV subscriptions, right? How much are you spending on that? And then people say, well, I don't have time to do self-care. I don't have time. And then I say, well, but you have time to watch hours of TV, right? And I'm just calling the stuff out here because it's so important that we start to get honest with where we're spending and investing all this time. on things, but then where we are, going, I don't have time for self-care. I don't have time to do anything for myself. And it's like, well, where can you actually spend a bit of time that you are spending in investing in your energy and money into TV stuff, and actually put some of that into a self-care practice? Usually we have time. It's just, are you willing to shift your perception and make time? So maybe for you, your thing is you get triggered and then you mindlessly shop. So you go shop online. Maybe you've had a couple wines, or maybe you end up like having a stressful day, an Amazon account is open, or your favorite clothing store is having 30% off, and you go and you buy like 3 times as much as you normally would, because just like with food, mindless shopping gives us a dopamine high, that quick fix reward. It's like you put everything in your cart and you hit pay with your credit card and you're like, oh, I feel so good. I can't wait to get all my stuff. And that lasts, 5 or 10 minutes maybe. And then by the time it all comes, you're like, crap, I overdid it. I spent too much. So what is that? Are you a mindless shopper? I used to do that a lot, especially coming closer to the holidays. But how much do you think you're mindlessly spending? When I was binge eating and I stopped binge eating for a while, I found myself at the mall every night buying clothes. The habit just morphed from eating to spending it on clothes. And then I was like, wow. And then I went back to food. So I didn't actually resolve it. It just morphed into another habit. And that got really expensive. So you're spending hundreds, thousands of dollars a month, a year on that. Okay. Diets, quick fixes. Okay. How much are you spending on that a month or a year? So this to me is things like diet books, diet plans online, Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, Simply Protein, I think is another one. There's all kinds of, and if it's like a diet where you have to follow points, or they make the food and send it to you, but you have to only eat that food, HCG diet. Maybe you're doing Ozempic injections, which have a lot of horrible side effects. And I don't suggest anybody do that to try and lose weight, because it's shutting down people's digestion. It's shutting off your metabolism. It's messing with your thyroid. And then your appetite levels increase and surge when you stop doing it. And then people are binge eating and gaining all the way back and then some. Again, quick fixes don't work. And of course, Big Pharma is going to push this crap because they make too much money off of it, which is really sad. But how much are you spending on diets, quick fixes, maybe things like Ozempic injections? And again, everyone's going to make the choices they're going to make, but I'm here to really help open you up. Do you want to keep spending the money on stuff that's not working and suffer more? Or do you want to shift this? Because I'm here to help you shift this. And I'm not tolerant to the ego making up all the stories, reasons, and excuses why you can't, because there's always a way if you are open to it. Right? So how much are you spending on diets, quick fixes, all that kind of stuff? That's a mindless spend, because you stay stuck in the same place. Different clothing sizes. How many different sizes of clothing do you have in your closet? And how much are you spending on clothes? Because your weight is fluctuating all over the place, and you are not able to attain, your natural set point, you stay at a certain weight because you're binge eating, you're in an all or nothing mentality, and you're binging and losing control. And then you're maybe getting to a weight loss, right? And then you go back down, but then it's just all over the place. I probably had a good 6 to 8 different sizes of clothing in my closet because I was just up and down every other month. That gets expensive, right? Not that it's a mindless spend, but I want to put it on this side just because if you were addressing the roots and healing them, you would reach your natural set point and you could attain the same weight. Like, I don't weigh myself, but I know by the way my clothes fit, and I've been able to attain the same, like similar body, give or take, because we can have some retention and stuff, like for 11 or 12 years, which feels so good because it used to be such a roller coaster, and I don't worry about it anymore. I'm not focused on it, but I just go by the way my clothes fit, and it feels pretty similar. So to me, a mindful spends that can turn into mindless, and let me explain this, is say you are like, okay, I want to work on my health and my healing journey. And this is a conversation I have with so many women, so it's good to have the repetition and talk about it again. But say for you, you think all the answers lie in getting testing done. And so you're getting food sensitivity testing, you're getting your hormones tested, you're getting heavy metals tested, you're getting gut biome tested, like, which is great. I'm all for that. Like, I do testing with my clients too. But instead of actually getting honest with yourself and going, yes, it's good to have the testing. It's going to give me some insight into my fatigue, my weight gain, my cravings, my blood sugar issues, my gut issues, etc. But you're continuing to ignore, deny, or give attention and energy to the elephant in the room, which is the binging, the emotional eating, the binging and purging, the body image issues, the negative self-talk, the ego mentality, the unworthiness, insecurity that you feel within yourself. And that's pushing you to people please and overbook your schedule and go into proving perfection, all or nothing mentalities because it feels too uncomfortable to deal with the elephant in the room. And your ego is continuing to convince you that no, maybe there's just one other test you need to get done because there's like one other thing in the testing that you need to get done because like maybe you're just missing something. And so you're continuing to focus on testing instead of, yes, adding in testing. However, also doing the deeper emotional work, which, yes, I know can be more uncomfortable, but is so fulfilling because until you deal with the emotional eating, the binging and purging, the people pleasing, the overbook schedule, and the chasing other people for validation because you don't feel good enough, you will continue to have some level of hormone issues, gut issues, stress, fatigue, because it's the thoughts and beliefs in your mind and your ego mindset that are dictating the way you behave with food, your schedule, with others, and yourself. And so you may continue to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on testing, comprehensive testing, and you get all these results. And then you're given hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of supplements to take. And maybe you're even thrown on an elimination diet, which I don't suggest. However, the problem with that is then, of course, you just end up with really expensive tea because you're binging, you're emotionally eating, you're overbooked. Now, instead of taking 2 adrenal supports, you're on 8 adrenal supports because you're not dealing with the root issues. Okay. We can't build a solid foundation if we're just trying to quick fix and band-aid our way. I'm a fan of vitamins, but I'm also a bigger fan of doing our deeper work and having some vitamins to help support the nervous system and the imbalances. But let's work on overcoming emotional eating, binge eating, overcoming the people pleasing, working on your ego and learning how to live more in your power, feeling more confidence. Like this is really important because this is what's going to help regulate your nervous system. It's going to help complement and work with the vitamins and the nourishment and the self-care and the sleep to help balance your cortisol and your thyroid and lower inflammation and improve your gut and all of that. But we must be willing to do the deeper emotional work. So if you're using testing and supplements as your way, because it's a comfort zone and it's easier to take physical action and take physical supplements and eat certain foods because the other stuff feels terrifying or uncomfortable or scary, you're just going to keep ending up with really expensive pee. And then you're wasting thousands of dollars on testing and supplements that you could be investing in doing really true deep healing. So this is where mindful spend would be getting testing and maybe some vitamins and things, plus working on the self-sabotage. But otherwise, if you're just thinking that you're going to finally find that one answer to finally lose the weight, but you don't deal with these other things, I will tell you, and I'm not one to like be a Debbie Downer, but the honest truth is if you don't deal with these things, you're not going to see a lot of physical relief with your health or weight loss. It's not going to last. I see it all the time. I went through it myself. Trust me, I went through it enough myself and I've seen it enough that we really want to make sure we're not just trying to quick fix our way out of a deeper journey to go on. Okay. Because that can be thousands of dollars really fast. Okay. How much are you spending on gym memberships you're not using, personal trainers, workout classes, yoga classes, dance classes? And like to me, a mindful spend would be for me to go to a dance studio and buy a membership and go to a hip hop class once a week or a yoga class. But when it goes from mindful to mindless is when you buy it and you're not using it because you don't feel good enough. You don't feel worthy. You're too exhausted. You've gained weight and therefore you feel shame and you don't want to go. Or you're thinking, I've got to do 3 sweat days every day and I've got to move my body and burn 1 billion calories so I can lose weight fast. That's when it becomes a mindless spend, when we're going into sabotage with it. And we feel guilty if we don't move. Okay. But are you wasting money on subscriptions you're not using? Maybe it's other subscriptions for like music or other things. It adds up really fast. And this isn't a mindless spend because I know, some of you can't help it, but to me, a spend that could be shifted or reduced is on medication. I have helped so many women come off of depression, all these different kinds of medications because we address the roots. And now I'm not telling them to go off of them. I'm saying, hey, like, what if we could do this work together and then you feel better and you don't need that anymore? And then they go out to their doctor and the doctor's like, yeah, you're totally good to go. And they can come off of it. That's a money saver. So what if addressing the roots and actually doing the deeper work helped you come off of medications and you had less medical bills? That's like, so you can put down in mindful, like what you maybe spend on medications or vitamins. And then like, how much would you save if you actually address the stuff? That's power, big time power. And the last thing that I want to touch on is Christmas. And I feel like I'm going to have to do a whole new episode on this because, like I said, this is deep. This is like part 1. We'll do part 2 next week. But Christmas. So I'm going to break it down. Okay. So how much, and I'm not saying it's all mindless because I like to buy some heartfelt gifts for people. And I have a tradition where I like to buy some local handmade chocolates every year and for the family Christmas. And then I like to buy some nice ingredients to make some nice foods. And I usually like to, get a couple new ornaments for the Christmas tree every year. But the old me would drop like $5,000 or $6,000 on Christmas gifts. I'd have to get gifts for like everybody and their dog and get like really expensive stuff to try and show people that I was like, had money and doing good and successful. And it was a people pleasing, getting validation, getting people to like me kind of thing because I was insecure. Okay. So that, and then not just going and buying a couple Christmas ornaments, but spending like $1,000 at the rustic Christmas store every year. And another 500 at Michael's on other knickknacks and things. And then buying like $400 or $500 worth of chocolate instead of just, a couple little things. Cause I'm like, oh, well, what if I need to gift some of this and blah, blah, blah. And like just this lack mentality if I don't have enough. And then, mindlessly spending like, oh, I'm going to get myself, I still get myself a couple of gifts, but like going like, it's Christmas. This stuff's only going to be available through Christmas. So I'm going to buy like a bunch of it when I didn't need it. Right? I don't need to buy 10 holiday spice latte mixes. I only need 1 or 2. But it was this lack mentality and this people pleasing and this need to prove. So spending like $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 on Christmas. I'm like, holy crap. I could save that money. I could pay off a lot of debt, save it, put it towards something useful, or just save it and just be mindful and intentional. So the mindless spend was the overdoing it. The intentional mindful spending is leading with intention and going like, I have nothing to prove. I'm going to get things for a few people that I really care about. And, that's it. And it feels so good. It feels so good to save thousands of dollars and or to invest it into something that actually feels really resonant. And I get it. Like you may have a big family and all this stuff, but it's like, as long as we continue to choose to invest in others, then we say, well, I don't have the money or I don't have the finance to invest in myself. Like you're choosing to put that into other priorities and to keep not making yourself the priority. Right. And you're going to spend money on whatever you want to and keep going. Like, what else are these mindless spending habits for you? We could talk about this for hours because each person is individual and different. Maybe you went and bought the $5,000 purse. Maybe you went and bought the $2,000 pair of shoes because you're whatever, like do whatever you want. Right. But then maybe you're feeling some regret. Maybe you've spent 20 grand on a surgery and that didn't work and you're still binge eating and emotional eating, but you thought that getting your stomach stapled or something like that was going to change things, but it hasn't. Nothing like that is going to help you heal this emotional stuff that we really need to heal. And then you're out tens of thousands of dollars. And everyone's going to choose their path and do what they're going to do. No shame in the game. But I've talked to so many women who have done this and they're like, I don't get it. Why am I still emotionally eating? Because I'm like, because that's just a Band-Aid quick fix. Sad to say, if you get triggered, that's fine, but it's the honest truth. Be willing to address the roots. Because what happens is when we have all this accumulation of mindless spending, okay, and mindless behavior, we get really stressed out. We feel guilty about our finances. We get overwhelmed about our number of money in the bank account. We tie our worth up with, continuing to have to overgive to others and try and make it look like we're fitting this certain image, which can get really expensive if we don't feel good enough. We end up having to spend a lot more on medications, vitamins, testing, continuing to chase answers because we're not willing to look at the roots, or maybe you just innocently haven't known where to go to address the root issues, which is also a thing, and that's totally fine. But maybe it's the binges, and maybe you could actually invest in a whole coaching program if you took the money you were spending every month on binge eating and put it into this, or you took them, even half the money you were going to spend on Christmas and invested it in yourself and your healing, because there's still so much time between now and the holidays and the new year to get support to do your deeper healing. It actually could be costing you more financially to not invest and to keep in all these mindless habits. It could, and not just with finances, but what does it cost you physically with your health? How much bloating and heartburn do you want to have through the holidays? How much weight do you want to gain, or how much do you not want to gain, right? But that could happen if you don't do anything differently. How much do you not want to mindlessly spend to buy people's love and validation? How much energy do you not want to drain that you will if you don't set some boundaries? How much unnecessary stress do you not want to take on, but know that you will because you feel the need to people please and do everything and say yes to everyone else? It adds up. And then you have to go on another adrenal support in the new year because you kept overdoing it and you didn't make any changes. Like, food for thought. I really want to bring this into perspective because I think it's so important that we talk about it. And money can be a sensitive subject, but this is about you taking your power back. And this is about you just exploring and seeing where it's going. And if it feels really aligned and really good, or if it doesn't, and if it doesn't, where do you want to make changes? And this isn't just necessarily about coming to invest and work with me. If you feel called, you're so welcome to do so. This is about you having the means to be able to go and get whatever help and support you want from whoever it's from, and or putting the money toward things that are going to benefit you, like a meal prep service, or like better groceries, or being able to buy the supplements you need, or get the testing done and, heal your relationship with food. It's like whatever's going to improve your quality of life and not just suppress, numb, and shove down these emotions, because otherwise we just stay in the vicious cycle. And if your go-to continues to be, the looping behavior continues to be reverting back to binge eating, emotionally eating, self-sabotaging with food, overbooking your schedule, people pleasing, mindless shopping, the unfortunate thing is that you continue to suffer, and we don't want that. We don't want you to continue to suffer. We want you to be able to shift and make the changes. So what I want you to do, because here's a bit of a shift in perception. I want you, actually, no, first, rewind. Before we do that, I want you to really think about what it's costing you to keep mindlessly spending or to keep prioritizing everyone else's needs and not your own. So physical costs, weight gain, sizes of clothing in the closet, fatigue, brain fog, irregular cycles, fertility issues, pain, inflammation, bloating, irregular bowels. Like, what are those physical costs? How does that impact the way that you can show up in your day if you're fatigued and tired and you haven't slept well and you're bloated? How does it make you hold back in your life, in your work, your career, your business? Maybe you don't want to show up and maybe you're not making as much money as you could. Maybe you feel you're not serving your clients or your patients as best you could be, or you feel like a fraud because in the background you're doing the very things that you're trying to help them not do. Maybe it's costing you emotionally and your mental health feels like not in a good place and you have a lot of anxiety, depression, your mood is low, you just feel stressed all the time, you feel in a very negative mindset, you feel a lot of fear and worry and lack, you don't feel good enough. Like, I get it. These are very heavy. I've totally been there and it's not fun. It's hard to enjoy life when your ego is constantly yelling at you and you're constantly feeling critical of yourself and your body, right? What is it costing you relationship wise? Are there rifts in your family with your spouse, with your kids? Are you worried you're going to pass on unhealthy habits to your kids? Are you snapping on colleagues, coworkers, or your employees, right? Where are you holding back, not going on that vacation, not going on that date, not pursuing a loving relationship? There's just so many potential things that could be going on for you that not doing the deeper work or not prioritizing even a little bit to start investing in yourself could really make a huge difference, right? Even if it's just starting with a $40 masterclass, right? It could completely change your life if you choose to value yourself and you choose to value shifting around a little bit of what you're investing in these other things and putting it into that, right? But it's all about what you're willing to prioritize. So for you, it may be a no-brainer to prioritize spending the money on your Starbucks coffee every day. Maybe a no-brainer to go and buy more clothes, to get more takeout, because right now these are things you feel like the value, but what's underneath some of that could be that they're an emotional crutch for you. They're a bit of a number, a bit of a sabotage. They're a safety blanket, and they're helping kind of to distract you or give you the dopamine high so you don't have to deal with what's beneath that. And that's usually what I see. And it's not all the time. Like, there's nothing wrong with going and doing a bit of shopping or getting a takeout or getting a coffee, but it's like when you think about shifting where you're putting some of your money and that starts to make you emotional, you get resistance, you get angry, you get frustrated. We know we have an emotional attachment to those things, and that's where we want to do our deeper work. So the shift in perception for you here is really around, if I valued myself, my well-being, my health, my body, my worth, all of me, as much as I value all the people on my list that I'm going to buy Christmas gifts for, if I valued myself and my well-being as much as all the clothes I know I'm going to buy this month or all the food I'm going to go and buy to binge on this month, right? If I valued myself and my well-being as much as my Taylor Swift concert tickets, you would have a complete perception shift on what is important for you to invest in time-wise, energy-wise, emotionally, physically, and financially. We all prioritize different things. That is completely up to you. You're going to pick whatever you want. But what if you valued yourself as much as you valued your best friend? And you took some of that energy and money that you're investing in all these things and you put it into yourself, or you started to save a little bit and put it into your like body freedom fund or your healing fund or whatever that looks like. Because it's all about shifting our perception. Often when we don't feel of value and we don't feel like we're good enough, we will sometimes struggle to see the value in investing in ourselves emotionally, financially, physically, mentally. And then we'll just continue to spend and scatter our finances and energy and time on all these other things that some may be mindless, some may be mindful, and then, a lot for others. It's really something to think about. Start spending your money like you value yourself just as much as what you're spending it on. And if you value yourself, be willing, if you're struggling with these things I continue to talk about in this podcast, to take a step or take some steps to explore some kind of support, whether you start with a membership, a masterclass, a full-blown program, or you're welcome to just keep listening to the podcast. It's like whatever feels good for you. However, where do you want to reprioritize what you're spending? Even if you just less mindless spending and you start saving more just in general. And that helps you feel better and build more confidence. And then you probably physically feel better because you're not spending as much on sugary laden coffees and fast food even, right? But what's a step you want to take? What's a shift you want to make? Okay. And so I am going to put the questions, the journal prompts for today's episode, but I'm just going to repeat them now, but they'll be in the show notes as well at amberproof.ca/podcast/446. First question is, okay, where are you mindlessly spending money? Okay. So that's the first question. Second question is, I just want to make sure I word this right. What is it costing you? Like physically, emotionally, financially, relationship-wise, quality of life-wise, health-wise, to keep delaying your good and to not invest in yourself, even if it's just something small. It could be $10, right? It doesn't have to be anything insane. To not invest in yourself though, and to keep avoiding doing the deeper work. I'm going to do a second sticky note. And the third question is, if I valued myself as much as I value my best friend, Taylor Swift tickets, or whoever your favorite artist is, right? Because people justify spending thousands of dollars on one show, or your Christmas list people, right? If I value myself as much as I value my best friend, my Christmas list buys, my Taylor Swift tickets. Like, how would I like invest in myself? What would shift? Food for thought. So that's what I want to leave you with today. Explore the questions. If any of you want to share what's coming up, feel free to DM me on Instagram or email me. I'm always happy to hear from you and hear or comment below if you're watching on YouTube. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. As I said, the show notes can be found at amberapproved.ca/podcast/446. The journal prompts, the free sign up for the newsletter, and the free sign up to come and join the free month of the membership are all there. As well, you can go to amberapproved.ca if you're wondering if you're struggling with emotional eating and take the free quiz and book your 30-minute body freedom consultation. Lots of calls to action today. You don't have to do them all. Just do what you feel called to. But I want to really offer you a lot of things to assist you on your journey. And as I always say, there's no better time than the present to take action on your health or shifting where you're investing money so you can take further action on your healing journey. So take action now. Have a beautiful day, a great week. I can't wait to see who comes and signs up for the free month in the membership and who books a consultation and who just reaches out to say hello. I'm sending you so much love, and I cannot wait to connect with you again next Sunday for a new episode. And stay tuned for that 40% off code. It will be dropping next week. Sending lots of love. Take care. Hello. Hang on, let me.